Every day, cars and trucks share the same highways, but not all vehicles are created equal, especially when it comes to size and stopping power and blind spots. So Patrick Olsen from Carfax is with us to talk about safety on the road and sharing the road. I mean, what do people really need to know when they're near a semi?
Well, the first thing to keep in mind is that that semi is a lot bigger and a lot heavier than you, and it's going to take it nearly twice as long, more than 500 feet in dry conditions, to stop than it will for you to stop your car. So you need to make sure that you're giving yourself and that truck a lot of room.
Okay, and speaking of that, let's talk about you need to change lanes in front or behind a semi, that kind of thing. You need to make sure that the semi can see you. So I think we have a graphic that shows some blind spots, but let's kind of talk about where those blind spots are.
Right. So there are places both along the side of the truck and behind the truck where if you're not smart, the truck won't be able to see you and respond to you. So for one thing, when you're driving behind the semi, if you can't see their side mirrors, that means that driver can't see you. So make sure you're giving yourself far enough back so the driver knows that you're there. If you need to make a lane change in front of a truck, make sure that you can accelerate into that space. Don't swerve over and hit the brakes because, again, that truck is very big and it's going to take a lot of effort for it to stop, and it will not have a problem running over your car if you get too close to it.
Yeah, it made me think about it just this morning as I was commuting to work because I was changing lanes in front of a semi, and I made the conscious effort to make sure that I could see the entire truck in my rearview mirror before I switched over. Otherwise, we think they'll see us, but we often cut it too close.
Very true. And very often, if you are very close to the front of the truck, and you are just behind the driver's door, you're kind of in that blind spot where they can't see you unless they've got like a 360 view mirror on the side. So for them, because they're sitting so high and you're sitting so low, that's a point where you want to make sure you're not sitting there, you're not idling there, that you're making it clear that you're passing them or you're not.
Okay. All right. Alongside from that, we want to get into Carfax and how do we know when we're buying a car whether that car has a hidden issue? Because sometimes people say, well, I pulled the Carfax and it didn't say that there was anything wrong.
Well, so the good news is first that Carfax has more accident and damage information than any other vehicle history provider. That being said, there are people who will back into a pole or have some other accident where they don't get that damage fixed, or they take it to their buddy to get it fixed, or they fix it themselves. So the thing we advise everybody who's looking at any used car that they're seriously considering, take that car to a mechanic that you trust. They will put it up on the lift. They will be able to see things that you won't be able to see, but they'll also understand what they're looking at. They can tell if the car is idling rough. They can tell if something feels off when they drive it. So that it costs about $100, but that will save you thousands of dollars from buying the wrong car.
Yeah, we just had Chantal move through, and so we saw a lot of cars that were flooded. And so if it was an older car and they didn't report it to the insurance, something like that wouldn't show up on a report.
That's exactly right. In fact, we find in some flooded areas that scammers will swoop in and buy older vehicles that aren't worth that much money. They will offer twice as much as what it would be worth after a flood, and it never gets reported to anyone. And that's why on the Carfax report itself, you can look for signs that maybe it's been flooded. But again, ask your mechanic to check for sort of the warning signs, mud in the wrong places, or frayed wires under the dash, foggy headlights, things like that, to make sure it wasn't in the water.
All right, we've got about 1 minute left. Are there red flags in a Carfax report that you'd recommend that consumers pay specific close attention to?
Yeah, there are a few things. So one, we talked about that flooded tag. Look out also for any potential odometer rollback. Odometers are linear. It should go from 10 miles to 100 to 1,000 to 10,000 to 20,000 and so on. But if, it goes to 80,000, 90,000, and then it's back at 60,000, 70,000, that's a red flag. Look for any sign that there was an airbag deployment. That would also indicate that maybe there was an accident, whether that was reported or not. You want to look out for that.
Okay, and so when people are buying from a dealer, obviously the dealer is going to give them the VIN kind of thing. When you sell to someone who's a private seller, private owner there, do they have to give you the VIN so that you can look it up?
I would say, first off, that is a minimum requirement that you get the VIN. In most cases, I would ask the person selling the car to give you a copy of the Carfax report for free, because honestly, that's a sign that they have confidence in where their car is. If they don't want to give it to you, I would take that as a red flag, and frankly, that might turn me off the whole transaction.
Gotcha. We appreciate your time and your expertise. Thank you for hitting all of those points.